Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing great today. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about external tables. In our previous lesson, we talked about the SQL loader and how we can use the SQL loader to load external data into the Oracle database. But today we want to look at the concept of external table. So what is an external table? An external table is one whose metadata is stored in the database, but its data itself is stored outside the database, maybe on the same server, but outside the database. What this means is that the structure of the table is resident in the database, but the data itself is outside the database. I hope this is not confusing to you. Maybe you have data in a CSV file or any other flat file for that matter, and you will not be performing any serious operations on the data. You just want to be selecting from the data. We could create what is known as an external table and load the data to that table in the database and be selecting from the table as though you are selecting from an original table in the database. Okay, so let's see how this works in real time. First things first, my virtual machine is up and running and my database is up and running. Okay, so I want to try to connect as user sys. I'm connected. So if I run the command show_con_name just to be sure where I'm connected, you can see that I'm connected to the root container. And for this exercise, we want to do it with the HRO schema. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is to alter my session and set container equal to ORCL PDB. Okay, this is where the HRO user is found. So now that I'm here, I am going to grant the HRO user the create any directory privilege so that he can create the directory and then load the data into the table. But the first thing I want to do is to go to this directory, is to go to this path and create the physical directory, okay, which I already did in our previous lesson, which is the loader. So if you open a new terminal and type pwd, that's print working directory, you see that I have /u01. Okay. Let me exit. And then if you open this again, you can see all of the files we created earlier. Okay, so if you open a terminal and then say print working directory, you can see I have /u01/loader. So this is the directory part we're going to be working with. Okay, so let me quickly exit. It means the directory has already been created. Let me quickly exit and then come back here. And then I will now grant create any directory to HRO. You can see the grant is succeeded. Now I'm going to minimize this and then let me go to this location and then one of the things I want to do is to create a file. Okay, so to create the file, I'll open a terminal and then create a CSV file. So I'll use the touch command to do that. Touch new_test_load.csv. So the file has been created. Now, if I open this file, you will see that the file is empty. So let me put some dummy data there. Let me just pick the data from here. And then I'll paste it here. You can see we have just 4 records. Now you can have millions of records in your flat file. It doesn't matter. This is just a test, okay? So let me quickly save this and then close and then minimize this. Now, for us to be able to create our external table, we need to create a logical directory. Yes, it's true we've created the physical directory, but you will have to create a logical directory that will point to the location of the physical directory. And since we've already granted that privilege to the HRO user, you can see I'm connected as the HRO user here. So since we've already granted that privilege to the HRO user can now create the logical directory and then perform the other operation as it relates to creating external table, right? So let's quickly execute this. It says create or replace directory test underscore directory as, and then we put the location of the directory. So if we execute this, you see that the directory has been created, right? Now, if we try to select all from all underscore directories where directory underscore name is equal to test underscore directory, let's see what the output is. You can see that the directory has been created. Now, the owner of the directory is user sys. Like I said earlier, the user sys is supposed to be the one to create this directory. However, I decided to grant the privilege to the HRO user, so you get to see how you can grant it to any other user to create the directory. But all directory that is created must belong to the sys user. All logical directory must belong to the sys user, okay? So let me quickly clear this query result and then just add outputs. Now, the next thing we want to do is to create the table to hold the data. And for that, we have the create table statement already. So let's quickly examine the statement before we execute it. Now it says create table test underscore load underscore et. Et means external table. And then we'll create this table according to the columns we have in the flat file. So the first column is number. So that's why we have employee number and it's a number data type. The next column is first name and it's a variable character. The second column is last name and is also a variable character. Okay, I'm sure we are familiar with this create table statement. Now, the very important clause we need to include is organization external, which is this, to show that it's an external table. And then the type, the utility we want to use to load this data is Oracle loader, which is the SQL loader, right? And the default directory where we're going to get our details from is this test underscore directory, which is pointing to the physical directory we created. Okay, and then the access parameters, you see records delimited by new line and then fields terminated by comma. So each line has a complete record, and then the fields are terminated by comma, as we saw in the CSV file. And then we'll now give the name of the file as the location. Then the final clause here is reject limit unlimited. Now, what this simply means is very simple. If there are errors, still upload the data regardless. Okay, so let's try to create this table and see what happens. I'll execute this and it says table test underscore load underscore et created. Now the next thing we want to try to do is to select all from the table. So let's select everything from this table. Wow, you can see all the data we inserted into the flat file, 4 records, right? Now there's one very important thing you need to know about external tables, and that's the fact that DML operations are not allowed. Yes, you cannot perform any form of DML operations or anything related to that. To prove that to you, I'm going to try to delete records from the table. Okay, so if I execute this, delete test underscore load underscore et, it tells you operation not supported on external organized table. That's because in reality, you cannot perform this operation on an external table, okay? And then there's something else you need to know, and that's the fact that if you need to update this table, you will need to update it through the CSV file on the server and not through the database, right? So for us to achieve that, I like us to go to our server again. Okay, so I'm here, and then if we open the CSV file and add another record, let's say 8, NA, and Bliss. I'll save this and then I close. Now we have 5 records, okay? So if I go to my SQL developer and then I say select all from test_load_et and I execute, you'll see that it displays 5 records. That's including the one I just added. Again, let me go back to our virtual machine and then open the record and distort the data. So instead of number, I'm putting character here, and let me save it. So if I come back here and select everything from the table, you see it gives us just 4 columns, and it's not able to give us 5 columns because one of the record has been distorted. Okay, now if we go back to our server, there's something you will observe. And one of the things you'll observe is the fact that a bad file has been created, test_load_et_ this number and then bad, which is this. This file has been created. So let's go ahead and open it. You can see the record that was not selected, and it was not selected because this record has been distorted. We're supposed to have a number here and then we have character, okay? So I'll quickly close this. And then also you observe that a log file has been created. This log file records every operation that has to do with the external table, okay? So you can see the details of the operations as it has to do with the external table. I'll just close. So let me go back to the CSV file and then bring back the record to how it was and then try to save it. Now, if we go back to our SQL developer and then select all the records again, you can see we have 5 columns. So guys, this is how to use your external table. In my next video, I'm going to show you some more examples as it has to do with external table. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was interesting to you. If it was, please like it and share it widely. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I upload another valuable content. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.